Hey all, this is Apurva and welcome back to WeDesified. As a part of the Study in the USA series, today we will be talking about how to write a successful resume for your college admission. Along with SOP, LORs and test scores, the resume is one of the major components that can make or break your application chances. It is especially important for the PhD students to attach their resume while sending the introductory emails to the professors to make the best first impression. So let's get to it. But before that, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so that you will be notified every time we upload a new video. Most of you might have written a resume at some point in your academic or professional life. There are multiple types of resumes for multiple purposes. But for the scope of this video, we will be talking about writing a resume for your college admission and all the necessary ingredients to make it a successful one. If this is your first time writing a resume, that's totally fine. You should carefully watch this video as we are going to discuss in detail everything you need to know to write a resume, and we will also provide a sample resume at the end of the video. So let's begin. This process is almost same for PhD, Masters and Undergrad students. So like we said in our previous videos, the process of writing the resume should start along with the SOP and LORs because there would be a lot of overlap of information. That is why we have to be extra careful while deciding how to present this information. Otherwise, the admission committee will get bored to see the same things again and again and might even reject your application. So we have to carefully format the resume to create maximum impact on the reader. To write the resume, you can follow an existing template and modify it for your profile, or write the resume from scratch. For both the approaches, you will need to list down all your experiences, achievements and activities, which is also called as a brain dump. This you would be already doing for your SOP. So if you start preparing your resume at the same time, it will be useful for both. So take at least a couple of weeks time and write down all the relevant things, whether small or big, because SOP and resume both should reflect yourself as a student comprehensively. Once you start writing the resume, the first question you get would be, how much should be the length of my resume? Some colleges mention in their requirements itself, like they want a one-page resume or not more than 2 pages, etc. If not, the standard practice is to have a single-page resume unless you have like 8 to 10 years of experience. It is very tempting to write multiple pages, but trust me, it's not necessary. More pages don't necessarily mean a better resume. We can make our resume more effective and impactful with a one-page resume as well, and that is what we are going to learn today. So the first section is for your information. You will write your full name and your contact information. You should choose what contact information to put here wisely. Email is a must since the most used communication method is a professional email ID. If your email ID sounds like hotdude_1998 or cutie_2001, please create a new one that sounds more professional. If you're going to use an email from your previous college or office, make sure you have access to it until at least you get your admission. Some people write their address, but personally, I wouldn't mention it here. There are other places in your application where you can write your address, so it's not needed on your resume. You can mention about your Indian phone number, but if you're applying for colleges in the USA or any out of the country, I wouldn't assume they would call you, so it's kind of optional. Rather than these, you could mention more important details like LinkedIn ID if you're a professional, a portfolio link or website if you're a UI or UX designer, or a Skype ID if you're expecting an interview and so on. So make sure you put only relevant information here. The next two sections you can interchange based on what's more important. The first few sections or first half of the page is where you should create the maximum impression. So put your best shot first, or you can follow what we have done here. In the education section and throughout your resume, you should follow the reverse chronological order, meaning the most recent one should go first. If you're applying for undergrad, then you can write about your high school information. If you're applying for masters, then you can write your undergrad college information. If you're applying for PhD, then you can write your undergrad and master's college information. GPA is optional, but if you're writing GPA, then you should mention the scale. Like, don't just write 3.5. Write it if it is out of 4, 5 or on a scale of 10. You can mention the graduation year as well. If you haven't graduated yet, then you can mention the expected graduation year. For the experiences section, if you have any industry experience, then you can mention them here. You can write about what technologies you used, what were your role and responsibilities. If you don't have any work experience, then you can write about research papers, projects or internships you have worked on. If you don't have any of these, then that's still fine. You can write about the relevant courses you took or any certifications you have taken. This is the part where you have to establish why you are suitable for the program you're applying to and highlight your achievements. Don't exaggerate, but don't be humble too. You have to market yourself. If these points match with your SOP and LORs, that will establish your credibility. Follow the reverse chronological order and use action verbs to start each line. Action verbs show your ability and confidence in writing. These are some examples of action verbs. You can find the link for this in the description box below. Also, you don't have to write full sentences. And don't start the sentences with personal pronouns like I, we, our, etc. The next section is for your extracurricular activities. You can mention any volunteering experiences, any sports experiences, or any awards you have received. You can show your leadership skills, team playing abilities, or any social skills that you want to showcase. This will add up to your profile and establish you as a complete person. Prioritize and follow the recent experiences first approach. Make sure all the points are worth mentioning. Like if you won a debate competition in your 6th standard, you don't have to mention about it. But if you're a player in your college volleyball team, then it is worth mentioning. The last section is optional, but you can give a summary of technologies you know, certificates you did, languages you know, or any other interest you think that are worth mentioning. This is more useful when you're applying for colleges or companies that get a lot of resumes or applications and don't have time to manually go through them. They run a keyword search on the resumes and select only those that are matching for further review. In these cases, this section would be useful. In the languages, mention only if you know a foreign language that is useful, like Spanish or German, based on the country you're applying to. If the multiple languages you know are Hindi, Marathi and Gujarati, you can skip this part. Finally, we would like to give some quick tips. Don't use any funky fonts. Choose any clear and readable font and use the same throughout. Follow the same structure for all bullet points separately and headings separately in terms of font size, indentation, spacing, etc. You don't have to write an objective or declaration in your resume. They are implicit. In any section, make sure you at least have 3 to 4 bullet points. If not, you can combine sections and make into one. Make sure your resume has full pages. If it is coming like 1.5 pages, don't play with the font size or space to fit into full page. Instead, prioritize and write the things that only matter the most. You don't have to have proof for all the things you mention in your resume, but be as truthful as possible. Get your resume peer reviewed by a friend or colleague or a professional and revise as per the feedback. You don't have to mention any test scores in your resume since you would report them to the college separately. Do not use any acronyms or abbreviations unless they are universally accepted. So that is all we have for today. If you follow what we have shared, then you can write a successful resume and get that dream admit. Or you can even use it for your job applications in future. Hope this is helpful. We will come up with more videos soon. Please let us know all your questions in the comment box below. We will reply and make videos answering all your questions. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, keep learning. Bye-bye.